Welcome to the party, pal, and that's what I would be saying if you haven't downloaded Palworld yet, which is currently free to play on Game Pass and on Steam. So Palworld, it's definitely a game I didn't think that I'd be playing, but here we are, so I thought I'd do a quick check-in, show you where I'm at, what I'm currently doing, drop a few knowledge bombs, show my current Pal Party team setup, and just let you know my plans going forwards, hopefully with a few tips and tricks to help you get started, and if you're stuck anywhere, then help you power on through whatever you're stuck at. So in terms of where I'm at, I'm currently at level 14. I've pretty much just finished the tutorial and been playing for a good couple of hours, exploring, base building, catching a few pals, all that good stuff. So where I'm currently at the minute is I am currently exploring this area up here. If you can tell from the start of the map, this is obviously where you first start, and I built my base somewhere near there, which I think probably 99% of people probably will do at the beginning of the game. In terms of moving it, I may do, it's in a pretty good spot where it is, we'll go through that in a minute, but currently I'm exploring up here, seeing what's going on. In terms of level, I'm probably a little bit below as to where I can be in terms of not getting one-shotted by the bigger bosses that are up here, and there's a few more higher health enemies and level enemies around, so more just a case of just exploring the map for me at the minute, pushing on through, seeing what's going on, opening up a few of these fast travel points, and just going through the areas and seeing what other boss battles there is, dungeons and stuff, and planning from there basically. So where am I at in terms of my party at the minute? Well, you can see I've got Daydream, which early game recommendation, I would say that Daydream is probably one of the best characters to get. These little floaty ghost type pals only appear during night time, and they're fairly easy to pick up, especially where you start. They start at obviously a low level. Throw a basic pal spear at them and you're likely to get a good one or two. I think I've only got this one at the minute, and obviously they're all leveled up to level 14. In terms of what it can do, it obviously has some decent stats for base building in terms of handiwork, gathering and transporting, but the main thing that I've got for it here is the Dream Chaser. Now this is part of the upgrade tree on the technology track, and on level 8 you can see that you can get Daydream's necklace. Now this basically allows you to have Daydream by your side at all time, and is probably one of the first good upgrades that you can get on any of your characters. Now getting to level 8 is fairly easy, especially if you're following the base tutorial. You'll be there in no time, probably about an hour or so of gameplay, and you'll be able to pick this up, and you will more than likely have come across all the materials you need, which are leather, fibre and paldium fragments. And yeah, basically you craft this at the crafting table in your base, and you get a little Daydream next to you which assists in any sort of combat, so it will be out if you don't have your first listed pal up, or it will join you by your side obviously if you've got any of your pals up and active, and it'll just follow you around and lead you wherever you're going. Now in terms of the rest of the party that I have put together, it's a combination of stuff that I've come across either randomly or things that have come through my base, or even dungeon bosses. Now Relaxaurus is one that I caught when it came to try and attack my base. It's quite basic in terms of what it can do, but it is probably one of my higher level pals at the minute. I think technically this is a level 16, obviously I'm only level 14, so it's level synced to what I am. It's good for bases in terms of it can do watering, and that's obviously the level 2 version of that skill, so I do have one of them in my base doing the thing for that. But in terms of its attack, it's a dragon water type pal, and the dragon burst and dragon cannon do some pretty good damage on a lot of enemies, especially in the early game. So if you do manage to come across a Relaxaurus, then definitely try and pick one of these ones up. I won't be too worried about its passive skills. The glutton is going to make sure that it's oh, and I'm getting attacked. Brilliant. So yeah, I'd highly recommend that you don't start doing a video commentary in the middle of nowhere whilst you're underleveled, because you will just get absolutely ran. Fortunately, I can go pick my bag up pretty quickly, and we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go back to the base, and then we'll go through what we need to go through in terms of what's going on. So where were we? We were going through Relaxaurus. Yep, very good early game pal if you manage to pick one up. But the main one that I've got at the minute is Dinossom. Now this is one that you'll probably find going around near your base. It's definitely where I found it, in one of the early regions, pretty much a stone's throw from the base. And this thing just is absolutely devastating. I don't know what it is specifically, but I'm pretty sure the Botanical Smash does some pretty good damage on a lot of enemies, and especially at this level in the game, it just basically one-shots a lot of things. I have to be careful, especially if I'm trying to catch stuff, to make sure probably not to use this, but for that first tower battle, this thing was absolutely deadly and really did a lot of good work. Now you can actually get a saddle for this one. I don't have one at the minute. I have my Malpecker, which is currently dead and reviving in my pal box, but basically this one has the swift ability, so you probably will be able to move a little bit quicker. Once I do get the technology level up for the saddle for this thing, then I will be using that. Obviously that is a level 19 thing. But for the rest of my party, I put Penking in there because he just looks sick. This is one of the dungeon battles which you will get if you're exploring, which is up in this area here, the sealed realm of the frozen wings, Penking. Now I also managed to pick up my first shiny from that area as well, which was Nox. Now there's no other reason that I have this in my party at the minute other than it is a shiny. It doesn't massively do anything exciting. It's not particularly good for work suitability. It has a little bit more attack speed, it has a little bit more work speed with that exotic tier passive skill for Lucky, and it probably will last a little bit longer if you do put it to work, but in terms of what it can do, it really isn't. However, it does have a really high powered hydro laser, and it is a dark style pal, so I think it can get a mixture of abilities, and it also is good in terms of its partner skill. Died again apparently. Why did I die? I don't even know why I died. Is it turning into the worst video ever? I was probably cold, who knows. So that's pretty much it in terms of the party. I do mix it up in terms of getting Malpecker out of the pal box, but realistically that is it. Now in terms of my actual party setup, I think it has a really good little synergy. Obviously we've got a few dragon type abilities in there. Daydream is always going to help you attack by the side, so you've basically got two pals out at the same time. And basically, I mean, the strategy was for that first tower was to just basically get my highest level pals out and just keep swapping them in. Don't let them get down to like minimal health, because as soon as you recall them and switch out for another pal, they will start regenerating health. So as long as you can like balance that in between, especially some of the higher battles and some of the more challenging boss battles that you get in the area, then that is really going to help you to deal with them bosses and hopefully catch some higher level pals as well. Now back to the base then. In terms of the base setup, I mean there's nothing fancy going on here. I've got a few wooden storage crates, obviously I've got my pal box, a few workbenches, a repair bench. I've managed to unlock the first statue, which at this point in the game is not going to massively enhance anything, but you can obviously enhance some of your pals' attack defense, work speed and HP values. If you've managed to pick up some of the little offerings that you see around, these are the blue glowy and green glowy effects that basically you can pick up, and you can enhance some of your capture power stats as well. Again, at this point in the game, you're probably not something that you're going to need. What you do need though is these hot springs. Now these are absolutely vital to keeping your little worker base going. The pals will jump in and out of them every so often, and basically it just keeps their sanity at an even keel whilst they're obviously working and gathering resources for you on your base. Now my base did actually get destroyed by one of them big green memory sets. I don't know what they call it, but basically there's one that just is hanging around down from your base where you start, and I had a bunch that managed to roam up here for some reason, and I attacked it thinking, oh yeah, I can catch that thing, and it absolutely destroyed most of my base. So this is technically version 2 of my base at this point. But as you can see, we've got 2 berry plantations going. Now the trick to this is to get in some pals which can plant, water and gather. Now in terms of the ones that I have, I've got the little green monkey, the tansy, which can do pretty much all 3 of these things. So it can plant and it can gather. Now that's going to help in terms of seeding them berry plantations, and then all you need from that is something that can water them. Obviously I've got a Relaxaurus that can do the watering. I have a T-Fan which can do watering as well, and between them 3 and the rest of them, they're going to make berries pretty much on tap. I have the Etheric deer, which just basically just goes to town on this little logging plantation that I've got here, and it just basically does this all the time. It headbutts the trees. It's brilliant. Probably gets a little bit of a headache doing that. I've just managed to get myself the spear bench, which obviously is going to help you craft spears to catch bigger pals. Now obviously I've only got the pal spear and the mega spear at the minute, but once you get a bit further into the end game of this one, then you'll be able to get and build basically more spears. Now obviously you can craft the basic spear from that first crafting bench that you get, but ultimately this is where you want to do all your spear work. Medicine production, not something that I've had a massive amount of my time on at the minute. I think I created one low grade medical supply for one of my pals which got sick. That worked, but in terms of getting the materials for that, I haven't really delved into that too much yet. But the next main thing that I've had, and one of the main upgrades that I've got recently whilst I hit level 14, is the high quality workbench. Now this is going to allow you to craft more higher quality stuff. I've got the pelt armor going on, and also I've got some nails, and it's going to allow you to get some better gear in terms of metal pickaxes, metal spears, and a few more better quality weapons that are going to last a little bit longer in terms of battles and farming for wood, stone and all that good stuff. Now one of the main things that I've come across as well is eggs. Now if you're venturing around, if you're exploring, then you would have come across some eggs yourself. These eggs have been a little bit hit and miss. I've got a handful that I've picked up. You'd expect that they give you something good. I've been pretty much underwhelmed by most of them at the minute, but we just keep going and we keep going through these eggs. I've got a scorching egg and a dark egg found in various areas. Obviously I've got one going on at the minute, so let's see what we're going to get out of this one, and hopefully it's something good or something that we don't have. A ruby, have I got one of them? I think this is the first one that I've captured. Yes it is. So another fire type pal, which will obviously go in hand in terms of doing ingots on the furnace, and not a bad little pal to have, especially in your bases. So we'll keep that one for now, and we'll probably mess around in terms of setting that one up in a little bit. But I'm going to put the dark egg in, and we'll see how we go with that and what we get. In terms of what I'm doing next, then obviously it's just going to be a case of periodically upgrading the base, upgrading the skills on the character. Now the main skills that I've obviously gone for, you probably want to look at keeping your HP as high as possible, and Also, especially in the early game, you want to increase that weight. As you get more and more bases set up and you get more pals doing the things for you, weight's probably a little less important, and you're probably going to be able to work on your stamina, attack and defense maybe a little bit more. It's not vital at the minute, but HP I think is something worthwhile going in for, especially once you start exploring and heading towards these tower and boss battles a little bit more often. So let me know what you've been doing in this one, if you've picked it up or if you're staying away from it from whatever controversies are going online, whether it's AI or it's a Pokemon ripoff or whatever. I don't know what it is, but I'm having a ton of fun. It's probably one of the first games in a while that I haven't put down for a good number of hours, and I expect it to be the same for a little while longer yet, until we get towards the end game and start finishing off what you can actually do in this one. Let me know what you've been doing. Let me know if there's anything specific you want me to cover in the next video. There's loads of bits that I've been finding. Probably going to put out a little bit maybe of an end game tips and tricks video once I get to that stage. But in the meantime, thank you very much.